So I was just thinking, this is a Lohbado vlog, and what do I find personally most interesting? I do what I find interesting is it struck me yesterday. I was watching someone demonstrating a product. The product was of no interest to me at all. Well, minor interest. What interested me most was the speech melody, the appearance, the room that the person was in, the human aspect. Because if you were a sociologist or psychologist and you're doing research and you're just looking at interviewing different people, but in this case you're looking at different human videos. Did you ever wonder, what do single old men do with their life? You know, retired single old men. What do they do all day? And then they seem so pathetic, don't they? And then you see them being carried. Paramedics, suddenly an ambulance pulls up and paramedics removes this old guy. Somebody my age, they remove him from their apartment after they've been found dead in the bathroom or sitting on the toilet or whatever, lying on the floor. They've been dead for weeks, and the smell alerted the neighbors, and so they're carted away. This is interesting. I watched videos about it because I find it interesting, because I'm kind of in that category, except that I'm a special case. Well, every case is special, but in my case I have some wonderful friends, very few wonderful friends, and wonderful family, so I'm okay. But I do spend physically alone 99% of the time. And with the pandemic, when the restrictions are in place, I see somebody maybe once a month. So what do? I play guitar and read comics and take naps and go for walks and make videos. So this video probably wouldn't make this video if it weren't for trying to keep my sanity in a time of extreme isolation, because there are moments when I actually feel dizzy and nauseated and sick and almost panic. I take anti-anxiety medication. Just from it's almost like a feeling of vertigo. Suddenly in the middle of the day, there's this feeling of vertigo and dizziness. Just the sheer strangeness. You don't even know, why is this happening, etc., etc. So then I say, okay, well, take a practical, and don't get philosophical about it, just take a practical approach. How do you cope with this? And I cope through creativity, through a relationship with my guitar, with cameras, with computer, with software to make videos, and pocket cameras. And when there wasn't pandemic on, I would try to find somebody once in a while and have a coffee and chat with them. But since it's not possible right now with the quarantine restrictions and stuff, I don't have it. I've had my three shots. I am clear, but there's paranoia and sort of pressure to keep a distance, social distancing. So going for coffee is out. And anyway, so I'm just talking as if I was hanging out with a friend. We're shooting the breeze. That's what this vlog session is. It's just shooting the breeze, except that instead of another person, there's the camera, and I can't listen to the camera, so I have to do the talking. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I would love to hear what you have to say, but I'm alone here, so I'm doing, as a friend said, I'm doing the least that I can. I said I'm doing the best that I can, and then my friend said, oh, no, I'm doing the least that I can, and I like that. That's pretty funny. Okay, so do the least that you can. As an antidote to this sort of dehumanizing aspect that you're a product and that you always have to promote yourself and sell yourself. It's pretty dehumanizing, as opposed to I'm just a human being going through life a human being going through life. Let's be friendly. Let's try to be kind and reasonable and understanding. The root of compassion is understanding. Instead of judging the other person and saying, oh, that person's got it good, oh, they got it so easy, and me, I got it so rough. Instead of this sad approach, you could try to understand that everyone has their inner turmoil. Everyone has issues. So instead of judging the person and being jealous and resentful and angry and hateful, try to understand. Even if the person is a billionaire, say, well, I read an article saying that billionaires have to see therapists because it's hard being a billionaire. So everything's difficult. Being a celebrity, it's like, it's not easy. And of course, being in dire poverty is not easy. I'm not in dire poverty. I'm just in whatever. Okay. I have inner wealth, so that's kind of my wealth. I have a lot of inner wealth, a lot of education experience that has no value in the current setup. The wealth that I have is not valued, so that's fine. I can enjoy it myself. I would like to share it, but it's of no interest, so fine. It's okay. You die and whatever. Molecules, that's the way I think. I don't believe in any afterlife, or I don't believe in reincarnation or any of that stuff. I believe we're just molecules, and when you die, it's a phase change. And I have no idea why all of this is happening. That's beyond anything I could say or think. It's beyond my capacity. I can't say anything one way or the other. I don't know. Maybe your guess is as good as mine. But it's just guesses and theorizing and fantasies, and there's no proof, there's no evidence. It's just beyond whatever you could say or think. The electricity was off for about 5 minutes. Due to climate change, they're saying that the polar vortex is unstable. It moves a little bit and sends Arctic air down south. And when the power went off for a few minutes, who knows why? It happens from time to time. Maybe there's a huge demand on electric heating. So it's good to have a flashlight handy and batteries. And anyway, it underlined the sense of vulnerability. I'm from an older generation, born in the middle of the 50s. And I don't like cell phones, so I don't have a cell phone. I just don't like the idea of having to carry around a little thing. Of course, I've carried field recorders. I used to have cassette recorders and then digital recorders and pocket cameras. I don't mind that, but there's something alienating to me emotionally about having a device such as a cell phone, which tracks your every move. They're like tracking devices, statistics being selected and being stereotyped, and they can do whatever they want with the information. And it's also a form of intimidation. If you look a little bit wild or weird, you're more likely to be stopped and frisked, especially if you're not a white-skinned. Even white-skinned people get stopped and frisked. For example, I have buddies in the past when they were young, because they had long hair and dressed, long-haired artist walking around getting stopped and frisked simply because they have long hair and they're young and they look, who knows what goes through the minds of the cops who stop and frisk them. And they're completely innocent. They've done absolutely nothing wrong. I was once stopped by a cop because I was driving an old beater up into Alaska, and they found the wing of a blue jay hanging from my rearview mirror as a decoration. It was from a cat. A cat had killed a blue jay, and the cop insisted that where I came from there were no blue jays, and that he insisted that I had shot the blue jay, and he simply wouldn't believe me. It's kind of like the attitude, we think you're lying. So it doesn't matter what you say. The person has made up their mind that you're guilty. We think you're lying. And they can't wrap their head around. In fact, it was a blue jay that was killed in the backyard of my family home when I was maybe 18 years old. The blue jay came along, and a cat killed the blue jay, and I clipped off the wing as a souvenir. I guess you're not supposed to do that. I don't know what the laws are. This was back in the early 70s, I guess, the 60s. Time. What is time? So it's kind of frustrating. I had this a couple of times, crossing the border and getting turned away. Okay, I shouldn't talk about this. Put it this way, I find authorities, I stay clear of them. Because when you're a little bit off the beaten trail, you're more vulnerable. People want to interrogate you and harass you. It's better if you're mainstream, if you're sort of clean cut and have a few products with the logos attached to them. Then they're more likely to leave you alone. Okay, that's my vlog, I decided just to talk because I'm alone. I'm alone most of the time, except for I'm lucky I have family members who will phone me back. So it's true, my situation is not as nearly as extreme as the situation of single men in their late 60s who have literally nobody, and then they die and they're alone in their apartment, and maybe the smell alerts the neighbors, and so someone comes along and removes them. That's a common thing. So obviously I'm a far cry from that, so I'm not gonna grumble about it, other than to say that it's just to state a fact that I often feel like Robinson Crusoe, with the caveat that I can talk on the phone and send emails. So it's not quite so bad, but it's not the same. Well, I don't know. To go maybe have go weeks and weeks and weeks without any live human interaction, to actually sit down with someone and have a conversation with someone. I haven't had that it's like 3 weeks now, going on 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Who knows when the next time I'll actually get to be in the presence of another human being and sit down and have a chat with somebody, other than being at the grocery store and smiling at the cashier, or going to the library and smiling at the library clerk. That's about it. But again, that's better than nothing, I guess. And I have the company of my guitar, so the guitar is very sensual. I can caress the guitar, I can hold the guitar in my arms, I can run my fingers up and down the neck. I love the guitar. I'm not the world's greatest guitar player, but I've always enjoyed it. I got my first guitar around the age of 14, 15, and when I bought the guitar, they gave some free basic, I think something like 5 free guitar lessons to learn how to play the basic chords and stuff. I already had classical piano music training, 6 years of it, so I knew how to read music, so I was able to teach myself classical guitar. And I put it away when I went to university, and then got out in the hustle and bustle of the world and didn't really have time to play the classical guitar until retirement, decades later. And then to my surprise, I was able to play it. I thought, well, maybe with arthritis and stuff, and I wouldn't be able to play guitar anymore, but it was kind of a miracle that I'm still able to play guitar, not as an amateur, just purely for relaxation. And that is my number one companion. I just got a basic guitar. It's nothing special, but it sounds okay. It's over here. Here's my classical guitar. Just your basic classical guitar. It's a Godin made in Quebec, so it's a pretty decent for the price. I think it was decent, very, very decent.